Happy Monday. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to another Unblocking Your Path to Wealth live. The last live we had was episode 100. This week, we're bringing you episode 101. I have a very exciting guest with me. Give me 1 second. Let me make sure we're live on all the platforms, and then we're going to get started because we're going to talk about this money, but we're going to also talk about how you can redirect and use your money wisely and powerfully. So give me 1 second. Let me check my last platform. So you will see that we are live. Okay. All right. I'm back. It's your girl Saran coming through. You know, I help high income women go from chaos to calm with their finances. Chaos meaning can't handle any obstacles sent. Calm being control, abundance creation, legacy mastery, and money mastery. And this week I have a very special guest, Mr. Shawn McGee. I'm excited to bring him into the room. He's on stage now because we had major technical difficulties before this. Yes. But that's okay. You know, y'all know me. The show must go on. We're going to make it work. So, but we're going to bring him in a couple of seconds. But I want to just, thank everyone for showing up and showing out when we did our 100th episode. I want to thank all my guests who came back and was able to share the evening with me, where we really just talked about what they've been up to, what they're doing in the community, and just celebrating the effort and the consistency of getting to 100 episodes. It is no easy feat to show up here on Monday nights at 8:30 p.m. for an hour and be sane and have something to talk about after going through just life be life, and you know how that is. But I'm excited to continue to go into the path of the next 100 episodes and to grow and be better and bring you more exciting content, more how-to content, more of what you need in the times that we're living through with your finances so that you can create your path to wealth and not feel stuck. So I'm excited to do that again and be here with you. We are on Instagram because I figured out how to connect that. So, hey, Instagram. I see you, Jane. I see you, Sherry. And we are on YouTube and Facebook. And so I'm excited to be on all those platforms today. And I want to bring this voice into the room. I met this gentleman probably in January-ish. December. Okay, it was December. I met him in December, and it was an amazing time when I met him. He's smart. He knows a whole lot of stuff. And I was like, I gotta have this guy on my show. And after the world shifted, it just totally makes sense to bring such a powerful voice into the room that knows how to connect, that knows how to move things forward and get the ball going, and mainly knows how to bring people together to collaborate and to make money together, right? And so that's really important. But I'm going to read his real bio, not what I just made up. So you know who Shawn is. And I'm not going to say that he's also a New Yorker. Y'all know I'm a New Yorker, and I always love my New Yorkers. But Shawn is a seasoned entrepreneur with over 30 years in marketing and leadership. He is the CEO and managing partner of Lead Ventures. He directs innovative companies like Back to Learn, Focus Quest, and the D9 Network. Also, Your Solutions Corner. He focuses on lead generations and small business investments. Previously, Shawn Reed served as the senior vice president of sales at College Bound Network, growing the company from 7 to over 500 employees. You know, that takes a lot of effort. Anyone's ever grown a company. And he has held key roles at Succeed Magazine and Classes USA and Educational Goal and Jostin. And so I'm excited to bring him in the room because not only is he a New Yorker, he is also my fraternity brother. A member of the Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. And I'm excited to have him. And that's how we met. We met at Founders Day. And we were introduced by a mutual friend, Dr. Roz. And as he told me more about what he did, it became increasingly important for me to have this conversation with him live. So you really, again, as I always say, you're just witnessing me talk to my smart money friends. And so we're going to just, dive into it. But I'm going to let him bring his voice into the room. I'm excited to have him. Clap it up for him. Drop some fireballs in the chat in the comment section so we know you're here, so that he knows you're here. But we're going to get into this conversation. So go ahead, say a few words for the people, Shawn.
Well, Saran, thank you so much, first and foremost, for inviting me here. It was a pleasure, of course, when we first met. I think it was at Black Ice near Founders Day in December, so that was cool. Um, I'm excited for you. I mean, 100 episodes is no small, feat. So congratulations to you. I'm
Thank you.
excited about being the first episode in the second chapter per se. So I, yeah, you know what? So I'm gonna sit back and say that's my new claim to fame. Again, sit back and have it where I get the chance to start chapter two because everybody was excited about chapter one. First season, and everybody after a great season, everybody says, "Oh my God, what's gonna happen in season two?" Well, again, I'm hoping that I can, bring some noise and hopefully bring some clarity as well. So
Yeah.
again, it is my pleasure to be here to join you and all of your viewers.
Listen, I love it because that means you got to come back for either the 150th episode celebration or the 200 episode celebration because you're in the new weight class, as they
There you
say.
go.
So
I love it.
I know I read your official bio, but tell us a little bit about you that you want to share with everyone, and then we're going to get into it. We're going to dive into it because you have some unique experience and some unique resources that I think that people are going to be excited to hear about.
Gotcha. Well, again, thank you so much for the platform. I am, in essence, the average guy, but I'm a risk taker. I am somebody who's extremely persistent. If I see something that I want, I continue to go after it. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that, right now we're at a point in our lives that we need to do that. We need to make some big decisions. Do not, be afraid to jump into the deep end of the pool. You know what, you will sit back and if you have faith, and again, you will sit back. I believe that you will float. You will sit back. You will find a way to navigate through. Again, education is power. So make sure that when you jump in, don't jump into the too deep. Hopefully, you can still push yourself off just in case. Um, but for myself, again, started off as an entrepreneur always. I think again, after college, I went to work for somebody for about 2 or 3 years. And after that, I convinced them to make me a 1099 employee, a contractor. And from there, things just propelled. Again, one thing led to another. We sat back. I saw opportunity where we actually had a small magazine, and I wanted to sit back and say, what can I do to bring in additional sales? So what I did was say, hey, guess what? I'm a minority. Can we have a minority edition of the magazine? They said, sure,
Mm.
as long as you can sit back and get all of the advertisers that come in, the new advertisers, we'll create it. Great. Then I said, okay, fine. You know what? I got married. I have three daughters, not no longer young. But again, at the end of the day, sat back and said, you know what, with women, can we have a women's edition of the magazine? Can we have a financial edition of the magazine? And so I started creating these editions and these sections that sat back and allowed me to flourish because all the other spots were full. So in essence, creating opportunity where in essence sometimes there is none.
Mm.
But continue to be creative to come up with your own, to make make things your own. And I think right now, especially under this new administration, people are being let go. People, again, that good government job is no longer secure like it used to be back in the day. So this might be the perfect opportunity for people to explore, to sit back and to perhaps jump into the deep end of the pool and do something that you've never done before. Guess what? It
Mm.
might just work out. So for me, I think I've had an opportunity to do that for probably about 30 years now, being able to grow businesses and see them double year after year after year has been an incredible feat. And now at kind of a little bit more of a mature age, being able to sit back and say, you know what, I'm still having fun. I'm probably one of those people who sits back and says, you know what, while I might have gone through maybe my early midlife crisis, maybe back in my late 30s, so it was a little early. It worked out well because now I am still doing what I love, and I'll do this for probably until I am a 70, 80, 90, 100 years old. I love it. So
Yeah.
again, and I love helping people. So that right there is part of the joy.
And I love you said a lot, and I love that your journey started early with entrepreneurship. So you have a lot of valuable experience to bring to those who are like, should I do something? Shouldn't I? And I know a lot of my conversations have been, what's your opportunity right now? And people are usually look at me like a deer in headlights. and I say, "What's your opportunity right now?" And they just keep looking. And I'm like, "I'm going to keep asking until you ask yourself the question so that so the answer can come to you, right?" I'm a strong believer if
Mm-hmm.
you get what you ask for. So if you never ask what my opportunity is, then how will you ever even get the idea, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so, as we go through the change in the world with the administration, and we know a change in the administration is something that happens every 4 to 8 years, if you will, right? This change in administration happens to be a little bit more drastic than other changes in administration, right?
Just
But
a
the thing is that we're not here to focus on that. We're here to focus on what's in it for me. What can I carve out, right?
mm-hmm.
So, you know, um, tell me a little bit about how you feel like people can prepare for their career, for the future now with just, think about some of the changes we have. But, if you were in the work world and as a business person, what can somebody do to really just prepare for their career?
Sure. So right now, Ken, you have the individuals who might be a little younger and individuals who are a little bit more mature in life. Right now, one of my suggestions again, do not be fearful based off of the tactics that this new administration is going sitting out there, sitting back, and their goal here is to, send out all of these executive orders just to scare people and confuse people, to ask things and to try to do things that they don't even have the power to do. However, there is, again, this is a lot of lemons, but then guess what we do is when we serve lemons, we try to find our best way to make lemonade. One
Right.
of the things that I would sit back and I would tell everybody is right now, they are working a game plan, which is, of course, Project 2025. Well, guess what?
Mm-hmm.
So many people have heard it, very few people have read it. And guess what?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to read the whole daggone thing. It's about 800 and something some odd pages. What you can do is you can actually get a breakdown, a synopsis of it based off of the industry that you're looking to go into. If anybody's ever watched professional sports, especially football, and you see that coordinator will cover their mouth so that you can't see the play that they're about to run, well, guess what? This new administration has said, guess what? We're not going to cover our mouths. We're going to tell you every single thing that we're about to do to you. But yet,
Mm-hmm.
but yet, what we did is we sit back and we are almost in awe of, I can't believe this, I can't believe that. It's almost in a disarray. What we need to do is we need to sit back and read the game plan that they plan on utilizing and then beat them, in essence, to some degree at their own game when we can. Some things are going to be more challenging than others, understood, because there's price points that sometimes it will price us out depending on where we are financially. Depending on that good government job, again, that is no longer as secure as it used to be. But what happens here is that I think that when it comes to building our careers, what we have to do is we have to sit back and jump. This might be you know what, if you sit back and one door closes, maybe that's a way of God's way of opening up a whole nother door for you. So don't be as fearful, but take this opportunity to sit back and maybe rebrand yourself, recreate yourself when you have the opportunity, as well as the fact of connect with other individuals who are going down the path that is where you would want to be. Find mentors, find individuals who, like yourself, again, go, find a good coach, find a good financial advisor. Again, but do not be fearful. I think that's the number one thing that I would set back and say. Like I said, I've always been kind of a little bit fearless, which has worked out the majority of times. A couple of times it has not. Don't get me wrong. I don't always get it right.
Right, right,
Again,
right.
and my wife can truly attest to that. Every once in a while, she has to remind me because I have a short memory for all of my losses. I'm like, no, 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 no. And she's like, oh, hold on. It was that year this and it was that year that. I'm like, ooh. I'm like, oh, come on. Can we forget about that? Because I moved on. But nonetheless, you have to sit back and I think, just make sure that you connect with the right people because they say that you become average of the five people that you're closest to. And
Mm-hmm.
if you
Mm-hmm.
if you're always the smartest person in the room, you need to find a different room, or you need to expand your circle again. And I know we don't want to let go of anybody. Understood. Maybe what we do is we kind of push them over a little bit, spend time with those individuals who can actually educate us and help us to organize our lives. Again, depending on what you feel might be your shortfall, and if it's
Mm-hmm.
organization, if it's time, if it's, again, making sure what do you invest in? Again, I'm not sure where that person might be, but these are things that I think that we need to consider. So see exactly where the the um, the government is going, and develop something that you feel as though is going to be that can't be replaced, particularly by AI. Again,
Mm-hmm.
especially when it comes to getting a new career and a different career, again, there are going to be a lot of jobs available that are not connected directly to AI and technology that we have the ability to go and actually get. And the price points that they are now are going to go up significantly over the course of the next 10 years. So let's
Yeah.
say if this job one is whatever, let's say it's a plumber and that plumber is making X, you're going to see that price point and that salary and that compensation go up because that's a position that cannot be replaced. Think about
Listen,
those things.
the plumbers, the HVACs are folks that the world has labeled blue collar. They are the next millionaires because we need
Mm-hmm.
people to fix stuff and do things
Mm-hmm.
for us. And so we don't have to miss it. And I was being a bad host because you said, go ask, you didn't use these words, but when you said, well, go figure out what the summary is of your industry. So I went to Chat GTP. Like, can you give me a summary of Project 2025 as it relates to my industry? Because why not? Why would I read 800 pages? But now I got 4 pages in my
Mm-hmm.
Chat GTP right here that I can
Mm-hmm.
read and figure out. And then now I can start saying, okay, how do I pivot?
Mm-hmm.
How do
Correct.
how do I use this to my advantage? And I love that you gave that example. And I want to zone in on something that you said because a lot of people have been so fearful of AI technology, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the reality is, why don't you lean in? Get the certifications. They're offering all kinds of certifications. Why not you become the expert in that area? And now
Mm-hmm.
they're seeking you out because now when you put your resume out, no matter what industry you're in, you can say, "Hey, I'm AI certified," or you put that you use Chat GTP 4.0 or whatever version we're at the time you're applying for stuff. You
Mm-hmm.
use it efficiently, or you're listing out the different ones. Hey, AI tools I'm familiar with. Now you're at a place where you've put yourself to have a little bit of an advantage
Mm-hmm.
if you're only going the job route, right? One of the things I am a huge proponent of is the dualpreneurship. Work your full-time job, but you should also be pursuing some type of entrepreneurship and something that you love so it's not laborious, right? And something that you
Mm-hmm.
feel like when you get off your full-time job, you know you can go do it for an hour or two when you get off, or four, depending on your project, right? But
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask you this question. And do you feel like this is the time to become an entrepreneur?
200%. Without question. Again, whenever
That's
you
why
can
you
sit
was
back
my
and
guy. I knew you were my guy. I knew you were
I,
my guy.
again, when you can sit back and find ways to dictate the terms, again, why not? The fact of waking up and doing something that you love and that you have a passion for, why not? Yes, you know what? It is not as secure. And a lot of times people sit back and they think about, they see the glory, they don't know the full story of entrepreneurs. And you will have multiple things happening. And yes, sometimes only one or two things will hit. But when they hit, your life becomes so much more full. The fact of being able to wake up and do something that you have a passion for, you almost don't want to go to sleep. And better yet, and when you go to sleep, you can't wait to wake up and say, "Oh, you know what? I get to do something that I love again and again." And so that's why, for me, I feel like I will work for most, because working is not working for me. It's not. Again, this is a particular passion. I mean, you can almost consider it an organized hobby to some degree, where that I will do for a very long time, and then developing the team and the culture that you want. That's why, again, when one door closes, again, open up, and it's another door that's going to be open right there. You just have to not be fearful to jump through it, especially even if it is, okay, fine, for the next year, I'm going to try this. And of course,
Mhm.
get all the resources, go to the small business expo conferences that are completely free, find out what other entrepreneurs are out there doing. And then again, of course, you can, and if you're, depending on, again, the maturity level of the individual, I always tell people, find out who has the position or the job that you currently want, If they are sitting back and let's say they want to be a success in, they want to be a success coach, they want to be a financial coach, then what they need to do is they need to look at you and say, okay, fine, what is Coach Sharon doing? What does she have a degree in? What is she
Mhm.
doing? Again, you know what? How many likes does she have? You know, is she on social media? Is she doing this? Guess what? And you can reverse engineer some of those things. And
Yeah.
then you sit back and find your own path. And then, of course, maybe reach out to you and people like you if that is the path that they want to go. You do not have to reinvent the wheel all the time. Sometimes you want to find something that's extremely unique, but you not most of the time you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Find somebody else who has done it. Sit back, study that. In fact, one of the actual companies that I actually own right now, which is called Focus Quest, and we help HBCUs develop, build, and market online programs.
Hmm.
And again, felt that that was an incredible need because so many of our HBCUs are vital to our internal organizations, for those our culture and our people, and just every single thing that you get when you're there. However, what we lack is the convenience of when students can't get to class, they have to work a little extra, and so now they want to take an online course. Right now, only 5 to 7% of all the courses offered at our HBCUs are actually offered online. And so what
Right.
I did, but I got that idea from another company that I bought into called Fluid Education that was helping to do that for PWIs. And I was like, hold
Okay.
on, hold on. Right now, the PWIs are flourishing, a large portion of them when it comes to online education. Well, we need that for the HBCUs as well. So I sat back and developed a sister company, and now we actually have a few schools that are doing it. And where the goal here is that eventually I want to be able to help all of the HBCUs develop and market their online programs. And it's not just regular programs, it's certificate programs. Because as we mentioned before, sometimes it's not about having the full degree, which might
Right.
lead to, again, if you want to be an engineer, a doctor, things of that nature, understood. But if you want to, sometimes some of the careers that you might want are just certificate programs to
Hmm.
get that knowledge and education for IT and for certain career pieces. It works. So, so that is, again, so you can find something that someone else is doing and then maybe reverse engineer or tool it out to something that you have a stronger passion for. It works.
And I love that because we're in a time where the ideas are abundant and you don't have to copycat anything. You can look and see, like you said, you use me as an example. You can look and see what I'm doing and say, I like that, but I would do it this way, and go
Mm-hmm.
do it your way. Right. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what a lot of entrepreneurship is seeing a need and filling it, or finding a problem and solving it. And so some
Mm-hmm.
of it is really just about, I like that, but I would do it three different ways, and do your thing, because that's the way that we continue to evolve and have ideas. There's no shortage of ideas, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just like they there's no shortage of ideas, but guess what? There's nothing new under the sun either, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So we want everyone to really just, take that and go. But I really want you to talk to me about the D9 network. We talked about that when I met you, but I want you to tell me about the D9 network, because now there's been so much of a push for finding spaces and places for minorities and people who are similar groups to support each other in businesses in different ways. And I know when we talked in December, you were kind of still building it, launching it, setting stuff up. But talk to me a little bit about it. What are the things that people can expect from it, and how do people, participate, buy, that kind of thing? Give me the whole shebang.
I got you. I got you. Well, thank you. Right, the D9network.com, again, simple website. Well, what is it is the first collaborative effort of individuals who are part of the Divine Nine, again, fraternities and sororities, again, these Black-letter, Greek-letter organizations, again, where you have the business owners that are within the D9 network or within the Divine Nine network to be able to highlight and profile their individual companies. So you're talking about that individual who might own, 5 Wendy's, And guess
Mm-hmm.
what? You own them. Guess what? You can be on the website, in the network, so people know, guess what? Instead of going to that Wendy's, I'm going to go to their Wendy's, so that you can keep the Black dollar within the Black community. So many coaches do that, but yet for some reason, I don't know what it is, but we just don't do that. We sometimes, yes, sometimes you have to add a little added extra effort to be able to do so. But guess what? You can make that happen and keep the Black dollar circulating within. So the D9 network does exactly that, where as long as you are financially active within your organization, aka Delta, Zeta, whatever it might be, STRO, again, you can actually have it where you can go to the site, completely register for free, put up your logo, your websites, again, your videos, your coupons, all those different things, no charge, again, as long as you are financially, as long as you're paying your dues. And if you're not paying your dues, and then there's a small fee on a per monthly basis. So we still let you be a part of it. But right now, I started saying to myself, having businesses and being an East Coast guy, I would go and say, okay, fine, you know what? What if I wanted to order t-shirts? Or I wanted to order a new blazer. And you know what? What
Right.
I'll do is I'll go to the network and say, you know what? Put in blazers. Guess what? If I find somebody, great. Then you know what? They happen to be an Omega that's located in Kansas City. Hey, know what, what's going on, bro? Can I, again, I want to sit back and I go to their website. You know what? Maybe I can order from them opposed to going someplace else. Again, the
Mm-hmm.
same things. And let's say there's a young Zeta who is starting a T-shirt line,
Mm-hmm.
and right now, but she's located in Oakland. And again, I need T-shirts. How would I ever find her?
Right.
The only
Right.
so right now we created again the D9 network so that we can actually search and find them out. And again, it's going to continue to grow. This is a new endeavor that's all of maybe about 4 months old now. I guess actually going into its fifth month. So we already have a little bit more than 300 companies there. And our goal here is that it's going to expand beyond. But I decided to go a different route. So not just to be independent, but to actually have it where I've met with all of the presidents. And again, the
Mm-hmm.
goal here is, and so everybody is reviewing it. Our goal here is to be not only this first collaborative effort, but the first approved collaborative effort.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
Again, which is again a little bit different because again, believe me, I can't. I know there's AKAs out there like, is this approved? Yes, I have spoken to your
You
president.
got a license
Yes,
for
we are.
that?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. You know how you guys do.
You got the
So
license for
now,
that
so the
because
Yes. So we are going to make it happen. And again, we're approaching everybody. And the good thing is that there's proceeds for the company that when we do have to charge, that go back to the actual organization. Again, there are a lot of wins here. And ultimately, again, doing something that's never been done before. So right now,
Mhm.
each organization has tried to do something like I think the Deltas have the red pages. Again, I've seen certain chapters of AKAs that actually have it where all of their business owners create their own directory, but there's never been a full out D9 collective directory ever. And that's just
Yeah,
something that
we have pink pages in my chapter.
exactly. So, but in your individual chapter, but again, if you
Hmm.
sit back and you look at the overall organization, that doesn't exist right now. So right now, our goal
Right.
here is to actually have it where we pull all of those together, and you can actually on the site you can actually do searches. If you want to only deal with AKAs, you could do that, or you can actually deal only with deltas. Or again, you could have a whole collaborative effort. The goal here is to build something, let everybody put in and give their comments across the board, and so that we can find each other. So that part I become excited, but this is part of my serial entrepreneur feel of, okay, you know what? If I build it, they will come. And I believe, and
Yeah,
they
yeah,
are
yeah. I
coming.
love it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm enjoying that. I'm
So
enjoying that piece. So
then, so I think the only question I have is, so can non D9 members go in and buy?
yes, anybody can use it. But the only people who can actually promote their businesses are individuals who are members of the D9, or you are a spouse of a D9 member, or you're a child of a D9 member. So again, so there's
Okay.
always this connection. My goal here is that when I sit back and again, I have been a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated for 30 years now. And when I sit back and I think about all of the years that of the connections that I've made, but yet on a business level, we sit back and we give our money to other people all the time. Why not
All the
even at
time.
least try? Why not at least try to keep that within, keep those dollars within the general community. And again, when I think about the D9, the members of the Divine Nine, right now you're talking about in my mind, I think of them as being some of the most progressive individuals of color, again, the leaders thereof. So why wouldn't we start here? Again, our goal here is to always be inclusive, not just of ourselves, but of others. And so while everybody can use the site, you might say, hey, guess what? Yes, I want to go get whatever it might be. I want to get a massage. I want to, whatever it might be. And guess what? You can use the D9 network to find that individual. Because guess what? Because a Kappa owns this massage, parlor that's located XYZ 10 minutes from your house. Again, and of course, and so if you're a member,
Right,
if you're
right.
not a member, remember, everybody can use it.
I love that because, when things started changing during this
Mm-hmm.
administration, so many people are like, where do we go to buy stuff from all African Americans or Hispanic or all Asian? We were looking for somewhere that was driven that would allow us to support our own or circulate the dollars, at least in communities that our own community or communities like ours that were being affected, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm excited for the launch. Hopefully I get invited to the launch day. I'm excited for the launch of something like this, which is why I really wanted to have you on the show, because I think that it's minds like yours that are constantly creating. And you created this 4 months ago, 2 months prior to us finding out what was really going to happen. And so I love that you were innovative in bringing that to fruition, so that we as D9 business owners can go in, set up our pages, set up the services that we offer, and be able to circulate the business that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that you said you're talking to our presidents, because then we like free money at the top. we like
Yes.
we like to give a few dollars for our community service, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we do serve. That at the heart of everything that we do, we serve, right? We signed up for, all of us signed up for scholarship, service, and brotherhood or sisterhood, depending on which
Mm-hmm.
organization you join. So, but I
And
wanted you to specifically talk about that. I know you got 1,000 other businesses and amazing things that you're doing, but I know that
mm-hmm.
that's something that is needed, wanted, and people are looking for a way to um, be a part of this. So I'm going to put this in a banner, but I want you all to go to the D9 network and favorite it now, so that when it launches, get on the get. I think, can they sign up for the email list or something
Oh yeah.
there
Oh yeah.
too?
Without question, you
Sign up
can
for the
sign up for
email
the.
list so you can get
Yep.
the
Email
information,
the
because
newsletter. Yes.
the big thing is that we really we are really looking for that place to where when we don't have to go back to other portals or other venues to get stuff. Let me go get
Mm-hmm.
used to using something else to bring things to my life, or to order, or to set things up, or to just really just circulate the dollar in a place that allows us to let me click this banner thing. Hold on. I'm my own producer.
I see. I see.
That
Great
really
job, though.
allows us to
I
focus
said, no,
our
great
own
job.
dollars into our communities. So the D9 network, you want to go there, sign up for the mailing list. You want to, if you're a D9 member, send a message and see if you can get listed. Make sure you get active, because you got to get active.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Make
And
sure
no,
you
no,
get
no. And
active if you're
remember,
not active.
but membership has its privileges. So yes, if you're financially active, then it's
Membership
free.
membership has all its
But
privileges.
without question.
But
But if you're not financially active, then yes, there would be a small monthly fee. But again, that fee still is worth the exposure that you receive. Even at the highest level, it's all of about $350, even if you decide to be a platinum member thereof. Again, just as you
Mhm.
had international exposure. Again, over the course of a year, only paying 300 plus dollars, it's pennies again across the board. But now the
Mhm.
benefits that you receive and that you'll have again is is not, is going on and on and on. So I absolutely love that part. But continue, please. Everybody go and get the newsletter. And as we start becoming more official with each and every organization, what we'll do is we'll make more announcements just so that you know. But again, we are going. Our goal here is to go down the right path and go directly with the spotlight in front of us, not to back door, and go from there.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. We're coming up to wrapping this up a little bit, but I want to ask you a couple more questions, and then
Sure,
um, we can plan to come back. You're going to plan to come back, right? Because when you
I
launch, you
will.
got to come back. Hello.
Yes, yes.
Um, Job security. Let's talk about this job. We talked about this a little bit. Job security. Um, it's probably going to continue to be threatened, right? How can people adjust? How can they adjust to the landscape changing as we move forward?
Well, I think that a lot of us are going to have to sit back and really self-evaluate where we are. Have we been overspending? Have we sit back and have we put ourselves in kind of a position where we're living above our means? Again, this is some heartfelt self-assessment that's going to be necessary. And as we're doing so, yes, there might be some cutbacks. Do we need every, brand new, every time Jordan comes out with a sneaker, do we need to have the fresh new, pair of Air Jordans? Maybe not. Maybe we can skip the upgrade on the Apple iPhone and go from the 15th to the 17th and skip over the 16th. There's small changes that can be made that are meaningful, that will make a difference. So again, understanding where you need to be financially. Again, and sometimes, again, especially some of our younger people are staying at home a little bit longer. Understood. But guess what? While you're staying at home, don't sit back and continue to order Uber Eats and have your Chick-fil-A every single night. Or order, it's amazing where they'll sit back and they'll save X dollars on, let's say on rent, but they'll spend a fortune ordering out or ordering in. And again, those are things that make a difference. So again, so
Mhm.
once we sit back and assess those particular things, I think that's going to help us out. And then making sure that people are operating with a budget. Sometimes
Yeah,
we are just going, we sit back, we get some money in, we pay bills, and then what's left, we sit back, we spend, but we're not saving enough. But again, right now, you, of course, you're much more the financial coach than I. I am, again, more the entrepreneur who's sitting back and budgeting things on a business level. But I'm sure if they got together with somebody like yourself who is doing more of the financial coaching, you would tell them again, maybe say, ensure they're saving 10, 15, 20% when they can, if that is possible. Again, making sure that they're putting the investment into their 401ks if they have it, whatever it might be. Again, for the children, creating the 529 plans. Again, those things go a long way. Making sure that
yeah,
they protect their income by having maybe disability insurance. If they are a small business owner, make sure that they actually have business insurance. Don't just sit back and operate your business with no protection. And again, and make yourself liable for losing it. Again, there
mhm,
policies out there that would cost you all of 40, 50, $60 a month that would actually be able to protect you as well as your business. Again, making better decisions. Again, and sometimes maybe we had to be forced to make those right now based off
yeah,
of what's happening out here in this atmosphere. But guess what? This is the time to do it.
yeah. And I love that answer. It's something. It's a conversation that I'm having a lot with clients and in my speaking engagements because people don't really know how to cut back. People don't
Mm,
they because we and I like to use the analogy. I used this yesterday when I did an event, and we used it, and that's the story of Joseph, right? Not all the other stuff,
mm,
but when he got to Pharaoh's house and he was in charge, and he said, Pharaoh, your dream means we're going to have 7 years of plenty and 7 years of lack. And then he specifically said during these 7 years of plenty, we have to prepare for the 7 years of lack. We have to set aside X amount of grain every time the harvest comes in so that when the 7 years of lack come, we have what we need, right?
yes.
And the thing is that we've been in such a place of plenty for a long time for a lot of people. And we forgot that life ebbs and flows. And there might be a season where it may not be full lack, like a full drought, like in the story of Joseph, but there'll be less, right? And so we're not
Mm-hmm.
prepared. And then there are people who were already in a season of lack or less, and they're about to go into their season of plenty, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, because we're not all in the same place. And so it's really about assessing where you are. If everything's hunky dory and everything's going great, you might already be in the season of plenty. And the question is, what are you doing to prepare for the potential of a season of lack? Right.
Because it's
And
coming.
that
It's
goes back
coming.
to it goes to tightening up certain things in our lives and thinking about, the importance of something. And I always share and I shared this story multiple times. A few years ago, I challenged myself. I turned my cable off. And I was like,
Mm.
do you watch this? Right. And my family was there. They were hardly ever there. So I said, let's give it a try. I'm gonna just turn it off and I'm gonna see if I want to turn it back on. I wasn't having any financial issues. I had plenty of money to pay it. It's just like I was just looking at stuff and thinking, and I was like, "Can you turn your cable off?" And I was like, "Well, let's just see." So I called the company. Of course, they're like, "Well, if you turn it off, you'll lose the double deal, whatever." I said, "That's okay. How much is just the internet?" And I turned it off. I have never turned it back on. It's a different season, though, right? I never turned it back on. I got one subscription service that was
Right.
Netflix. And
Mm-hmm.
literally, that's it. Maybe a year later, I got this other subscription thing, but it's like $150 for the year, right? But it was just a
Kudos.
test. I said, let me see. But
Mm-hmm.
if you never give yourself the chance to see, and I'm like, and then I was like, man, all those years I was paying $100, $200 a month for cable, and apparently I was only watching 3 shows, and they're all available on
Yes.
Netflix, right?
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, if it's something, I mean, there's one show I did get HBO once or twice when the new Game of Thrones series came on. That was just for the period that was on because I had to watch House of the
Mm-hmm.
Dragon. I
Yes.
mean, you can't
Yes.
miss that, right? So, but otherwise, I was just like, oh, moves and everything. I was like, oh, I don't need cable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if y'all come over,
No,
y'all better turn YouTube on,
no, I love it. And what you did was
So, but it's
you
a thing
challenged
that if we
yourself.
never test ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
the first couple of months was hard because I wanted to scroll. The habit of scrolling through the channels just to see what's there.
Mm-hmm.
And, after I got over that need to scroll, I was like, let me just go to the stuff I know I'm going to watch. They call them the comfort shows. I know what comfort show I'm going to turn on to watch TV at night, you know. And now
Mm-hmm.
actually I'm on a fast from TV anyway. So I'm not on TV. I'm not even watching TV at
Mm-hmm.
all. So, but the thing is like, but I'm not paying to watch TV and not watching it,
Mm-hmm.
right? But it's those little things, it's challenging yourself. I always challenge people like, okay, well, nobody's telling you to stop going to buy hot coffee on your way to work. Nobody's telling you to stop doing Uber Eats or whatever it is you get your delivery, but do you have to do it every day? Can you do it
Correct.
once a week instead of 7 days a week and
Correct.
redirect that money for the future, right? So it's not about just taking everything away. It's just a mindset shift, if you will, and prioritizing what it is. And it's funny because I went out to lunch today at work, and usually like once a month I'll just go buy lunch because I usually just bring my lunch and breakfast or whatever I want because I'm usually also on some type of fast or some weird thing that requires me to juice or not eat this or not eat that. And the guy, he was like, "Oh yeah, I come here all the time for lunch." I was like, "This, I only do this about once a month." And he looked at me like, "Why?" I said, "Because I like to spend my money other ways. I don't want
Mm-hmm.
to eat it."
No, and I
But
like
I
that.
love that. And
I love that example. So you know what? But what I like to do is I like to tell people and challenge them. If you're going to cut back, what happens is because money will slip out in all kinds of ways before you know it. If you decide, okay, fine, you know, each and every
mhm,
day you were going to go get that Starbucks, whatever it might be, at $7, $8. Now you're going to do it every other day. The days in between, still transfer over the $7, $8 from your checking account to maybe your savings account. So guess what? So you're
mhm,
acknowledging it, and when you start seeing and the numbers build and you see that account grow slowly but surely, it'll become much more real to you, where now you sit back and
Mm-hmm.
say, oh, well, you know what? I'm not going to do this every other day. I'm actually going to only go there twice a week. And then, but now those days in between, every day you can sit back and make the transfer, and you're going to sit back and see by the end of the year, you made 150 transfers of $7, $8, whatever it might be. Now you're talking about, now you have an extra $1,000 in your pocket to do X. Now you can go and invest in something, whatever it might be. It's amazing how the money will sit back and it will continue to build. But but you have to understand the kind of person that you are, and and how do you reap those little benefits, and how can you see the small joys. Again, maybe it's once a week you make the switch over, or maybe it's every day, whatever it might be. Again, figure out what works for you so that you can continue
Mm-hmm.
to become the person and be in the position that you want to be in.
Yeah. No, and I love that because, even in my live workshop, I do a find the money challenge. Like, let's find the money. You said these are your
Mm-hmm.
goals and dreams. Okay, now let's look at your finances and find the money, because
Mm-hmm.
we don't need more money. We need more discipline. We need more
Mm-hmm.
focus. We need to be more serious about what we said we wanted. Everybody who says they want to travel the world, right, including me, I raise my hand. What are you doing with
Mm-hmm.
your money? What are you doing with your money daily and weekly and
Mm-hmm.
monthly? Not
Mm-hmm.
the big lump sums. What are you doing with your money daily, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I really challenge myself to look at, and I challenge my clients like, hey, can you go a day without spending any money? That means automatic payments, anything. Can you say that there were no transactions in your account today? And that's where we get to have some control and transfer the money. I do a transfer all the time. Hey, let me transfer this to my savings account because I'm not going to spend that money on that. Because, like you
Mm-hmm.
said, I always say money is energy. If you don't direct it, it just dissipates. So I love that.
100%.
We are totally on the same page in two different industries, but I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Absolutely.
So let's bring it back to this. I'm gonna close out because I think that this is really important for us to talk about. And I am a proponent of. I'm one of those people who I don't let the news come to me. I go get the news. So I don't let the news force feed me what it wants to tell me. I go to trusted sources and say, I'm going to read the news here, and that's it. And so I'm not constantly feeding myself. But one of the
Mm-hmm.
things, you know, I was asked, and I thought, and we talked about it a little bit, but should we be reading every executive order that comes out?
Absolutely not. In fact, again, it talks about the fact that this here is to distract everybody, because if they sit
Hmm.
back and they constantly continue to put things out there that you are just frustrated about, you're in awe, you can't believe they're going to do this again. Now, for example, I think the new thing is a third term. And so now everybody's going to get distracted. They're going to raise up about the fact of, oh, we got to stand against this. While there's 10 other things that's happening that are now beyond below your radar, because now you're so
Hmm.
fixated on this new thing. And then guess what? 2 days from now, there'll be something else. And so by the time you put together a coalition for something, then it's something else. And then half the people leave because now they're off to the next thing. So when you sit back and you constantly keep chaos, out there, because the media is going to continue to absorb it, because now you have something that's new news. And
Hmm.
again, it becomes for many people too distracting, where they end up not doing anything and they end up losing because they did not focus on what was going to be most important for them and their families. Again,
Yeah.
the majority of the stuff they told us the plan. We know the blueprint. Again, do not become distracted by all the stuff. Half the stuff, more, I'm sorry, like 80% of the stuff he can't even do. It's just, but the fact is, but if he takes the position of being, in essence, king, again, people will sit back and start believing, oh, he can do that. No, he cannot. Stop it, and don't even listen to half the stuff.
Some of us just need to go back to government class, because a lot of it is we don't understand the some of the different things. And don't get me wrong, I understand that there's some behaviors that are taking place that are outside of the norm, right? And so what ends up happening is we forget that there's rules, and then the people that open the doors like this ain't in the rules. Don't open the door. But I love that because now, like you said, the distractions, we have to get ourselves in a place of responding and not reacting. We have to get ourselves in a place where we go, like you said, go find out, what they put in the project 2025 that's going to affect where you work or the industry that you do your business in. And so that you can start to have a plan so that you'll be ready to respond if and when it does come to that place. Because as there's a frenzy, like you said, going over here on the right, there's something else slipping through on the left very quietly, or something that's
Exactly.
sliding through the news or sliding
Mm-hmm.
under the radar that we're not paying attention to because we're in a frenzy and we're having an emotional reaction to everything. Right. And so I think I can't remember if it was one of the pastors or someone who said, if you have an emotional reaction to everything, you are going to be one stressed out somebody for for the rest of this administration. We cannot have an emotional reaction to everything. We have to be able to look at things, think about it logically, ask questions, find the holes, find the way to move through, find our opportunity, because there's so much opportunity in between the lines of everything
Mm-hmm.
that's happened.
Oh,
And
1,000%.
that's not to downplay anyone who has been impacted and who has lost their job or who is going through challenges. This is not to downplay that at all. It is just that we want us to really start to think about how we're responding and what we can do. And if you did lose your job and you need assistance, jump in my DMs. Happy to help you brainstorm some opportunities and get some things going. But the thing is that we got to get into responding and not reacting, because those knee jerk reactions are going to probably be more detrimental than taking a few minutes to take a deep breath and provide a response instead of the reaction. So, is there anything in closing you want to say? Anywhere you want to send us? Tell us how tell people how they can get in touch with you. I did put some of that in the show notes, but it's always good to just say it.
Yeah, no, not a problem. Again, right now I can always be reached based off of my website, which is ShawnReedMcGee.com. Again, you can also go to the D9Network.com as well. Again, we have all social media, again, Instagram, Facebook, the list goes on. So again, feel free to engage as well as connect with us. We're going to continue to build. We welcome all ideas. Again, right now we are starting, and because I am all over the place in essence with when it comes to particular companies, some of them that I'm able to spend a lot more time involved in, and others again I'm looking for ideas. So again, so right now, so if you have some good things, again, feel free. Who knows, maybe your entrepreneurial effort is to maybe come and work with me. Again, I've got people that, again, I love having partnerships. I love being able to invite and invest in people, especially when it comes to good ideas by far.
Mhm.
So again, to me, keep your head up. Yes, what this administration is real. So I hope that and nobody ever feels as though I was diminishing anything. No, this is real. What
Yeah,
I'm saying is the fact is
absolutely.
that we have to take control of the things that we can control. Again, and don't be fearful of the things that we don't have control over. Again, to
Mhm.
me, I will sit back and I will trust and I will give God, again, those things that I can't control. But when you have an opportunity, you have a severance, and now you have the ability to be able to finally start maybe that company or start that endeavor, I suggest, you know what? Take the jump, take the leap of faith. And if not now, when? If
Yeah.
not now, when? And this, you know what? And your life might be completely different come a year or 2 years, 4 years from now, saying, wow, you know what? In this, in the midst of all of this madness and craziness, guess what? You gave birth to something that just changed you as well as created generational wealth for you and your families. Again, because you sought something out and because you took the jump. Why not?
Yep.
Make sure it's an educated jump, but nonetheless do it. Again, try it out. Again, don't be fearful. So again, but keep your head up by far because this stuff is real. But you can make some great lemonade out of the lemons that sometimes is being served. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. And I thank you for coming. I look forward to you coming back again soon, especially after the launch, so that we can show it and walk people through it, get some folks to sign up, and really just move forward. So hang tight for me for a few seconds.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. All right. This has been another episode of Unblocking Your Path to Wealth, going from chaos to calm with your finances. I had the honor and privilege of speaking with Mr. Shawn McGee. And if you missed this episode, be sure to watch the replay because there were so many gems dropped, so many ways for you to be able to move forward and grow and be all you can be in this climate. So it's your girl, Saran. I'm here every Monday night, 8:30 p.m. live with or without a special guest to talk to you about the who, what, where, and whys of finances, to take you from earning money and spending money to growing money, leveraging money, and investing money. And those are the things that are important here at Unblocking Your Path to Wealth. So I look forward to seeing you in the near future. I have several events coming up, so please be sure to go to my social media pages at The Real Saran Baker on Instagram. Hey, Instagram, drop some fireballs in the chat. And on Facebook, Saran Baker, on YouTube, Saran Baker, and find out about the upcoming events. This Saturday, April the 5th, I think that's the correct date, I have a Women's Day of Excellence where we are going to be sharing with women who are interested in coming into the financial space, how you can come into the financial space. And we are going to be showing women how to get out of debt with their finances, how to strategically build their emergency funds and investment funds. So this is an all women's event. So guys, this isn't the one for you, but it is April the 5th from 10 to 2 at 7375 Greenbelt Road, Suite 300. I'll drop the link in the show notes again, but would love to see you there. You can register. Make sure you tell them I invited you. And on April the 12th, I will be in Delaware with the Built to Last conference as one of the keynote speakers. This is also an all women's event, and I'll be there and I'll drop the link to the Built to Last conference done by Dr. Dawn Paramore, where she is going to be pouring into women at a very high level for the afternoon to give you the strength, the endurance, and the information you need to grow, thrive, and move through this time because you were built to last. So we look forward to seeing you there as well if you're able to come out. So it's been another exciting episode, 101, and I will see you next time. So peace, love, and light. Let's get your money right. Bye.